It's Monday, it's Thursday, 2nd of December 2021. Greetings from Rwanda's capital, Kigali. Here is what makes our top stories tonight. Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente has met and held discussions with the CEO of Bubble Health, a digital fast health service provider and value-based care company in Rwanda. Senators have been calling for an increase in the export of food types, not necessarily just cash crops, usually associated with bringing in revenue, giving an example of grains that brought in as much as $92 million during the last fiscal year, compared to coffee's $61.5 million. Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kalisa. To kick it off, Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente has made and held discussions with the CEO of Bubble Health, a digital fast health service provider and value-based healthcare in Rwanda. The discussions between the two dignitaries focused on further improving the services the company provides in Rwanda. Serge Ntore kickstarts tonight's bulletin with this report.
Dr. Ali Parser, the founder and CEO of Babylon Health, has expressed satisfaction for the services his company provides in Rwanda and other countries, but also says there is much more to be done.
Every country in the world is facing pressures of accessibility and affordability of healthcare. The role of companies like ours and the role of technology in general is to make whatever we do today in a less accessible, less affordable way, more accessible and more affordable. So I don't think the challenges Rwanda are facing is necessarily any different than any other country we operate in. We operate now in 16 different countries. And whether it's United States or United Kingdom, there is Rwanda or Malaysia, everywhere, according to their needs, people are facing the same challenges with healthcare. Healthcare is a global problem, and the solution will be a global solution.
The meeting between the CEO and Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente is being seen as an important step forward in addressing some of the challenges Rwanda's health sector has continued to face. The Prime Minister spoke to him and he expressed his views on how service delivery can be improved, and a task force has been formed to look into it, which is why we are confident that solutions to all the problems that were highlighted will be found in the near future. Up to 40,000 Rwandans use Babel services every day, and the company now has more than 2.5 million subscribers, with more than 500,000 using its online medical consultations made possible with the collaboration of health centers and pharmacies across the country.
Senators have been calling for an increase in the export of food types, not necessarily just cash crops, usually associated with bringing in revenue, giving an example of grains that brought in as much as $92 million during the last fiscal year, compared to coffee's $61.5 million. Serge Ntore continues.
A report presented by the Senate Standing Committee on Economic Development and Finance highlighted that during the 2020-2021 fiscal year, exports from agricultural produce increased, with grains bringing in as much as $92 million, tea exports registering $90 million, and another $61.5 million from coffee, a cash crop most expect to be the top earner. That is why the senators believe other regular food crops should also be given emphasis when it comes to exports, not just the traditional cash crops. We should alter our more traditional views and realize that any crop can be exported. All crops should be seen in the same light because all are useful. The committee also highlighted the fact that not enough effort is being made to increase productivity in the agricultural sector, with a lot of focus put instead on selling the available produce, yet international demand for more produce keeps increasing. There is also the problem of farmers not getting a big enough share of the profits made from the processing and selling of their produce, another issue the senators believe can be a hindrance to increasing productivity in the agricultural sector. If tea is being sold for $4 a kilo, how does that impact the farmer? How are the lives of the farmers improved when such sales are made And is the difference even noticeable compared to other local residents who do not necessarily engage in agriculture?
The difference between the price factories charge for their processed goods and what they pay local farmers for them is much too big. So much so that people are complaining that they get nothing in return for their efforts, saying the little they do make is used to buy fertilizers and their farmer cooperatives are overwhelmed with debt. It doesn't matter if it is tea, coffee, or anything else. Farmers are complaining about the disparity in what they are given and what the factories charge of their products.
The agricultural sector brought in $419 million during the last fiscal year, 27% of the country's entire GDP. Challenges exporters say they have continued to face include transportation costs and the effects of climate change. While the General Assembly of the Senate approved the measures being implemented to increase Rwanda's exports, it nevertheless decided to summon the country's prime minister to explain how these and other challenges are being addressed and how productivity can be increased.
To education matters now, promoting the welfare and capacity of teachers as well as providing training are some of the key points that were discussed at an international dialogue forum that took place on Thursday here in Kigali, Rwanda. Participants also looked into ways teachers can be encouraged to be innovative in their teaching approach, especially now as the world continues to struggle with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Betty Mutoni reports.
Outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic in different countries, including Rwanda, affected students worldwide, and 1.6 billion dropped out of school. Kileta Nzitonda and her brother Nzima Nzitonda said they were studying from home with the help of technology, but they faced the challenge of poor internet connectivity and the time shortage that would not allow them to ask questions.
Online, it's not easy to learn because the teachers always have problems with connections. Or as students, but then at school everything is easy, and when we have questions at home, sometimes it takes a long time for us to try ask the teacher. We'll have to wait for the next day or for the second lesson again with the teacher. But then when we're at school, everything is easy. We can, after during break or lunch, or when it's time for home, before we go home, we can just go to the teacher and ask.
This international dialogue forum brought together 150 teachers from different countries around the world, and officials from Rwanda's Ministry of Education demonstrated how to use technologies being promoted in the education sector, with every teacher provided with a computer, which teachers commend.
This will help in making research for the preparation of lessons because before it was difficult using a pen and paper while preparing notes, and now these computers will make the work easy and fast, hence producing good results.
Teachers give so much of themselves but get little in return, which is one of the reasons being innovative can be difficult, resulting in stagnation. While students benefit and progress, teachers do not. A representative of Sector for Teacher Development and head of the Secretariat for the Teacher Task Force at UNESCO thanked Rwanda for increasing teachers' salary and rewarding students with the best performance in education.
But also we are aware that for innovation to work, teachers need to be supported. We're very happy to hear that teacher motivation in Rwanda by means of the increase in salary, for example, and these kind of incentives are very important for teachers to be able to be engaged, to be motivated, to be empowered, to have good working conditions. And these kind of measures, as well as the selection processes, the recruitment, like it's taking place in Rwanda, of the best profiles, of the most qualified and experienced teachers, is something that would help in that direction, precisely to leave no one behind.
Rwanda's Minister of Education, Dr. Maria Valentine, has noted that the courage of innovation in education has been practiced by some teachers and they need to be supported.
First thing we did after we opened school is to start a new program that was one laptop per teacher, where we are providing tools and devices to different teachers across the country so that because you cannot talk about online teaching and learning without tools and devices that will help teachers to do so. So the first thing is to equip teachers with those tools, but again, train them on how to use them, because the ICT skills among our teachers as well were not that at good stage. So we are also training them on ICT skills so that they can be able to use those provided tools.
With sub-Saharan African countries suffering from teacher shortage of up to 15 million professionals, participants in this dialogue believe that investment in education needs to be improved so that universal access to education can be achieved. Betty Mutoni, reporting for RwandaTV.
Thank you very much, Betty. Moving ahead, the United Nations Development Programme UNDP has donated equipment to children and youth with mental illness. The equipment will help them with their growth and learning. We do have more. Representatives of children who were provided with the equipment noted that the donation will back their goal to strive for self-reliance.
This donation is very important. As you can see, they gave us children's toys. They will not only help them to play, but also help to develop their minds. They also gave us computers. They are for the grown-ups. Those children have now reached a level where they can chat with other children with the same illnesses in other countries via Zoom.
The country director for UNDP Rwanda, Maxwell Gomera, noted that the grant comes in support of Rwanda's progress in enacting and supporting the protection of the rights of persons with disabilities, and that this partnership will continue.
Yeah, absolutely. We are very grateful to the government of Rwanda. First, the government of Rwanda signed off on the international laws in 2008 that requires us to recognize the needs of people with disabilities.
Close observers of the health sector in Rwanda estimates that up to 12,000 children are born with disabilities every year. And moving ahead, some people with disabilities in Rwanda are grateful for Rwanda's progress in developing programs that help them achieve development despite there being improvements that need to be made. Jen Mutoni has more.
William Safari was born blind, but that did not limit him from pursuing his studies, even though the journey was not easy. His condition motivated him to pursue courses related to inclusive education in order to help others that were born with special needs. Currently, he is in his third year of university.
Apart from having support from family and friends, I am also fortunate to have ended up successful after struggling. I was also able to go to school.
The new policy for people with disabilities in Rwanda is designed to help them find and participate in all national programs and live a life that gives them value. This policy also aims to make Rwanda a country where all people with disabilities are included in sustainable development programs. It is in this context that people with disabilities appreciate the progress Rwanda has made in helping them live better lives and access various services. When people with disabilities come together as a cooperative, they are able to get a loan from a financial institution, hence being able to start their own business according to each one's abilities. Despite the progress made, some people with disabilities point out some of the challenges they face, including shortage of jobs, not accessing documents that facilitate them while studying, or getting bank services, and so on. The distance to financial institutions is usually far for people with disabilities.
It's hard for me to read, so I literally have to wait for someone to come and help me out, which means that we haven't attained the level of independence in our work.
Satisfying.
Jean Damascene Nsengiyumva, Executive Secretary of the National Union of Disability Organizations in Rwanda, commends the fact that people with disabilities have been considered and that a law was put in place to change their lives for the better, although it has not been announced in various implementing agencies.
We shall sensitize all institutions to implement the rights of persons with disabilities, because all institutions don't know the rules and regulations that facilitate people with disabilities.
The Director General of Community Development and Social Affairs in the Ministry of Local Government, Monique Hurst, says there are various joint programs aimed at transforming the lives of people with disabilities and calls on all sectors to work together to implement them. There is a project in place to establish infrastructure including roads or passageways for people with disabilities to use while accessing different services. It is a promising project as we shall be working with the government, different partners and organizations of people with disabilities to ensure that we eliminate all challenges that people with disabilities face. According to the 2012 census, there are more than 446,453 people with disabilities in Rwanda. According to a study by the Financial Services Development Agency, the number has risen to 1,190,208, or 17% of the total population. 43% are women, 57% are men. 11% of people with disabilities in Rwanda are the ones who participate in financial services. 96% are urban residents and 89% are rural residents. People with disabilities are asking that all barriers in accessing financial services be eliminated. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
The entire news and technical team that made it happen, thank you very much for being with us. My name stays Sam Kalisa, wishing you a safe evening and a good night.